On the Newshour tonight, Ravi Batra is back. Meghnad Desai joins us from Delhi. D Bakshi joins us from Delhi, and Sanjay Hegde is a Supreme Court advocate. I'll line up more. I'll open up the lines. Ravi Batra, have you heard did you hear the phone call of the racist American? Because, you know, what is quite clear to me are three things. The man who called the police was a racist. A. B. The police are racist. C. The state of Alabama is racist because they were protecting the racists. You have any doubt on these three? And so there is a basic racist prejudice that in America, in the state of Madison, Alabama, an Indian man has no right to be walking on a footpath. You have any doubt about this basic premise?
Let me respond to this. It's worse than what you're saying, because what the city of Madison is doing and Police Chief Larry Muncey has done is, after Sureshbhai's neck got broken in a criminal violation of civil rights and violation of federal and state rights, they are now trying to rob Sureshbhai of his day in court, and they have well checkmated the lawsuit filed yesterday, to the point that when the dust settles, if the lawsuit remains the way it is, the most Sureshbhai can get is a mere $100,000, and they will not even, may or may not even collect it. So this is a terrible event, what's occurring. The firing of the police officer is a very clever legal device to let the municipality not be responsible and not have to pay damages. And this is terrible. So, you know, this is a very sophisticated game in law.
I don't care about the American game, frankly. Ravi Batra, I don't care about the American game. For a long time, I have held the belief that there is a very strong racist underbelly that is prevalent in America. I only want to talk about racism tonight. This is not,
okay.
and if you don't know, one second, Ravi Batra, if you feel, right, that the life of an Indian can be measured in a few $100,000, then I think you're mistaken. We are not talking about... No, one second.
I don't.
No, one second. I'm sure you don't. But the question is, I'm not talking about the lawsuit, etc., etc. I am simply saying, is this racism or not? Ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to play you the clip. One second. I'm going to now play the clip of the racist American who, when he saw Sureshbhai Mehta walking on the streets, called the police saying, I have a black man, a skinny black man in my neighborhood. And he's looking around. Here's the call. Please listen to it and you can judge for yourself. D Bakshi, I'm going to come to you next. Let's listen to this.
Madison Place, Angela.
And we've had a guy, he was doing it yesterday and today, just kind of wandering around in driveways, and now he's walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
Does he have a vehicle nearby, or he's all set?
He's just on foot. He's just kind of walking around close to the garage, and I stopped and started looking at him, and he started walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
What does he look like?
He's probably, he's a skinny black guy. He's got a toboggan on. He's really skinny.
Okay.
And I've lived here for 4 years. I've never seen him before.
All right, blue jeans, sweater, jacket.
He's got on blue jeans. He's got on like a white or really light colored sweater and a toboggan.
Okay. So how old does he look?
I can't really tell. I would say he's in his 30s.
Okay. All right. And the last time you saw him, he was walking down Hardeman Place toward Woodville?
He's walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
Toward Hardeman Road, okay.
Yeah, like towards the high school. And I'm just kind of following him from a distance now, going down Hardeman Place Lane.
Okay. Do you want contact when the officer shows up?
No, I'm on my way to work, but I was nervous leaving my wife, and he's just standing around in the driveway across the street.
Okay.
He looked at me and started walking away, so...
Okay.
So Ravi Batra, what I just played out are two racist Americans talking to each other. One is the racist paranoid American who thinks an Indian is a black man who's a threat to a white neighborhood. And the other lady is probably a police officer. She's another racist American who takes some kind of rubbish like this at face value and immediately dispatches three other racist Americans who then go and ask this person, what are you doing here? As if he has no right to be there. So in racist America, and then they search him, they find nothing. They are so angry, they find nothing. They want an excuse to beat him up. The three racist Americans then want an excuse to just beat up an Indian. For pleasure, perhaps, Ravi Batra. It's not a mistake. It's a premeditated racist assault. Now, I want to ask you this. If there had been a premeditated... If there had been a premeditated racist assault on an American citizen, would Obama be quiet?
Look, you're asking a wrong predicate question. Okay, it's inflammatory and unhelpful.
I'm asking you exactly the right question.
What has happened?
I am telling you this is racism.
Here.
Do you believe this is racism? Or do you
yes,
believe this is use of disproportionate force?
But not the way you said it.
What is the way you said it? No, they are saying it's a case of disproportionate force. What is disproportionate force, sir? What is disproportionate force?
Hold on.
Does disproportionate... what is disproportionate force?
May I respond?
Yes.
Arnab, may I respond?
What is disproportionate force?
Okay. The officer, when he had no legal constitutional right to stop a civilian who was committing no crime and there was no reasonable suspicion, therefore even the contact...
Was this racism, sir? Let's speak English. You are speaking English and I'm speaking English. Was this racism? Was this racism or not? Was this racism?
Yes, it was.
Then why don't they admit it's racism? Are they embarrassed about it?
No, let me finish.
No, why don't they admit it's racism?
Jim Comey just yesterday FBI Director Jim Comey, who is a great protector of the United States Constitution, said yesterday that there is latent means hidden in your subconscious, latent biases that people carry.
No, that's all. No, sir. No, 1 minute. Mr. Batra, I reject that English.
But that's racism.
D Bakshi, what is this? what Mr. Batra wants opening up the debate? First of all, Mr. Batra, I think Americans should stop trying to teach Indians English. What do you mean latent, disproportionate use in your subconscious? I mean, speak English like a normal person.
You don't know what latent means?
This is racism.
Means,
no, I'm sorry.
Latent means the subconscious.
No, this is not a psychology class.
I don't understand.
If there is racism, call it racism. Isn't it racism? Racism is a simpler word.
No,
are the Americans embarrassed to call it racism? What is subconscious? I am saying here tonight, it is a case of racism because the police officers present used force despite knowing the subject did not understand English. And D Bakshi, please come into the debate. This is a case of racism because the police officer... Because the police officer did not give Patel a chance to explain himself.
You're only dealing with the tip of the iceberg.
Sir, is this racism or not?
You're only dealing with the tip of the iceberg.
So why is America embarrassed about calling it racism? Is it racism or not?
It is the policy. It is the policy and practice of it is the policy and practice of the Madison Police Department.
Please, sir, it is pure and simple racism.
I don't know his name. Hello?
Yes, D Bakshi, General Bakshi.
Arnab, I would like to state unequivocally that this is an unspeakable outrage. This is a racist attack like no other thing can define a racist attack. And I think for once our American friends should now stop preaching. We in the Indian Army have been at the receiving end of a whole slew of human rights organizations from the United States telling us, of the atrocities that we are supposed to have committed. I think they should just watch this video and thereafter keep quiet. I don't think we deserve the kind of moral hectoring and the lectures that we got from the American president, after what has happened in Ferguson and what has happened to an Indian today. As far as it was Ferguson, I'm afraid we could not say very much because the way you treat American citizens is primarily your responsibility. But when you do this to our own, and then you come and lecture us in town hall meetings on how we should deal with our minorities, I think it doesn't gel.
Yeah.
I think there is a need to take a call. I don't think we need this moral hectoring anymore.
Point is...
And not from a society that does this.
Point is this is racism. The acceptance of the fact that this is racism has now become very fundamental to us. And I'll tell you why this is racism. This is racism because, according to these news reports, and we saw the phone call right now, Meghnad Desai, the phone call is of a non-emergency nature. I mean, some paranoid racist American makes a phone call and says, there's a black guy in my neighborhood. And as a result of that phone call, emergency response of the police, 3 people are sent there, and they use extreme force on an unarmed person after searching him and realizing that there is nothing on him, which means all these policemen wanted to do was get an opportunity to vent their racist feelings out on an unarmed Indian man. Meghnad Desai, is it important or not that we get an admission from the Americans that this is racism?
Yes.
And he was on the footpath. And Meghnad Desai, he was on the footpath. He's on nobody's lawn.
Lots of Americans would say...
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. Just listen to me. We all agreed that it is racist. It's a racist attack. What happened in Ferguson was a racist attack. What happened in New York was a racist attack. American police in different parts of the country is racist if it's white police. In UK, we have had a report on London police and the whole structure of racism in London police. So, I mean, racism is something very serious, and it is not just because it has happened to an Indian that is a problem, it is a problem. So, I mean, and we have to eradicate it.
No, we can't eradicate it. No, we can't eradicate it. No, 1 second.
Because we also have atrocities. We also have we have atrocities at home.
Sir, that's all. Please, Meghnad Desai. Please, Meghnad Desai, there are opportunities.
That is what your previous panelist was saying that, which is why I am replying to it. The fact that Americans are racist
Professor Desai,
does not mean that we are virtuous.
No, are we being a little squeamish on behalf of the Americans?
Are racist. Americans are racist. I'm not being
Isn't every human being racist?
I am concerned.
I'm just saying,
I am concerned about this case.
Don't start being virtuous.
I'm not being virtuous, Meghnad Desai. I am showing them a mirror.
Churches are being burnt in Delhi.
Professor Meghnad Desai. Professor Meghnad Desai. Why are
as racist as they are.
Okay, Meghnad Desai, is it
we are
do I get a feeling here that some
our race is the same color?
Do I get a feeling here that some people are getting very squeamish? Why are we fighting a case for the racist people? I mean, I don't understand. All I want is an acceptance.
I'm not
1 minute, Meghnad Desai.
I was demonstrating.
Professor
Arnab, listen to me.
Can we restrict ourselves to discussing this case? No, 1 second.
I was demonstrating against racism. Listen to me. I was demonstrating against racism 50 years ago on the streets of America. I have a very good record.
So what it clearly proves, Meghnad Desai, is that 1 second, Professor Desai, Professor Desai, can you hear me? You're getting worked up unnecessarily.
I'm not being squeamish.
You're getting worked. You see, if you were protesting, Professor
Arnab, let him talk.
Professor, 1 minute. What this incident tells us about America, and I appreciate the fact that you were on the streets of America 50 years back talking about racism in America. I'm sorry to tell you the truth.
Americans are racist.
No, 1 second, Professor, and I heard you, and now you hear me back. What this tells me is that Martin Luther King's values are dead in the 21st century in America.
No, not true.
And this tells me, 1 second, Ravi Batra, don't react so quickly. What this tells me, 1 second, what this tells me that every story being told about America being the melting pot of the world or the salad bowl of the world is nothing but a lie. What this tells me, what this incident tells me, I'm sorry, let me complete, Ravi Batra. I heard both you and Meghnad Desai. This incident tells us that every recognition, allow me to complete, sir, every recognition made of the problem, made by the US President after US President after US President, come and talk about it. Clinton talked about it. Bush talked about it. Obama talked about it. Has not been able to change the sentiment of the ground. And therefore tonight, Ravi Batra, I'm not going to let any American or American apologist, allow me to complete, get away by saying this is a case of disproportionate force.
You're true.
I want the right language used.
Agree with you.
I want the right language used. And the right language.
With you.
Meghnad Desai, thank you.
I agree with
you.
you.
The right language is racism.
I agree with you.
Meghnad Desai, the right language is racism.
May I respond?
I agree with you.
Then why don't you call it racism?
I agree with you.
You see, Meghnad Desai.
I agree with you.
Sure, you agree with me. I want the American government to agree with me.
I called it racism.
May I respond? May I respond?
I called it
yes,
racism.
Ravi Batra.
Long ago.
No, they haven't called this case of racism. One second. And Meghnad Desai, let me add. Neither has our government put that kind of pressure. I want to know where the Indian political class is tonight.
I
want to know whether BJP and
I want to congratulate Arnab, I want to congratulate President Obama and our FBI and our Justice Department for so quickly starting a parallel federal investigation.
I'm sorry.
It is almost unheard of.
I think
it is almost unheard of in the United States. And that's a gift to India, and it's a gift to the Indian American community.
I reject that. I reject that because I'll tell you a couple of things.
You can't.
No, well, I can. He's an Indian citizen. I totally
you can't.
I totally
it's a gift.
I totally can. And I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. You very well know, Ravi Batra, that had this case not come out in the media, then even what has been done so far would not have happened. Okay? This is a case of racism because the caller described Sureshbhai Patel.
I applaud your coverage.
Why don't you?
I applaud your coverage.
I don't need certificates. What I'm saying tonight is a fundamental point.
You have them.
A fundamental point. The fundamental point is this is a case of racism. Argue with me on fact, Ravi Batra, because the caller told the police dispatcher. One second. The caller told the police that he was nervous leaving his wife at home because a man who he thought was a black, because Sureshbhai Patel was in the neighborhood. Right? So
and that's a racist fear.
Let me get in the fourth.
That's a racist fear.
No, of course. Then I want Obama to call it racism. I want Obama to call it racism. Well, is it expecting
He's done
too much?
bigger than that.
Is it
He's done bigger than that. He gave a federal investigation.
I am really
on a parallel level.
I am sorry, he hasn't even moved on it, Ravi Batra. You want to argue it with me on whether he's moved on it? Okay, let's argue.
I am.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
I am arguing with you.
Okay, so then argue with me.
You don't realize the gift that's been given.
Here's the question then. Let's get into some straight and unanswered questions here. Ravi Batra, the case is open. Sanjay Hegde come into the debate, and I refuse to believe that we need to be thankful to the Americans for doing the little that they have. I'd rather they have done nothing than try and put on an apology of an investigation. My first question, Sanjay Hegde, you can join the debate, is Sureshbhai Patel was taken down by a racist man called field trainer Eric Parker, right? But his trainee Andrew Slaughter was also assisting at the scene. Why has there been no action against Mr. Slaughter? Why is there only one symbolic...
You should be a lawyer, Arnab.
Pardon me?
Exactly. You're right.
So
the city of Madison is mugging Sureshbhai a second time.
No, exactly.
By what they did yesterday.
Now
I'm very offended by what they did.
No, 1 second. There has been one arrest, which means there are 3 people. Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, Mr. Batra has a point there, because what he is saying is that Madison is trying to limit its liability. If it fires the police officer, then the liability would just be about 100,000.
Sanjay Hegde, I don't care about the state of Alabama limiting its liability. I'm talking about an Indian citizen who's the subject of a racist attack.
You better.
We need
you
money
better worry about
for Sureshbhai, so that he at least is compensated. I am not
talking about compensation. I'm surprised sometimes that extremely intelligent lawyers sometimes look at things in such a hardcore legal way that they forget the humanity.
First, let's do what's good for Sureshbhai. Secondly, let's do what's good for India. There are two things which can go parallelly.
Well, you know, Sanjay Hegde.
That's the one language that America and administrations understand.
Okay,
Make them pay.
No, 1 second.
Arnab, your motives are good, but you don't understand what you're doing.
Ravi Batra, I understand it better, and let me 1 second. 1 second, Ravi Batra, let's argue on fact. Don't give me these subjective sweeping comments. Let's argue on fact tonight, okay? My comment is this.
You're the master of subjectivity.
Well, Ravi Batra, hear this please. The Madison police, and I'm surprised, you wouldn't be laughing like this if an American citizen had been assaulted by the Delhi or the Mumbai police for no fault of his. If an American citizen was walking down on Marine Drive,
I'm laughing at our conversation.
If an American citizen was walking down on Marine Drive and the Mumbai police just asked him, what are you doing walking here, you white man, walking here on the footpaths of India, I'm going to throw you to the ground, I'm going to leave you half paralyzed after that.
Offensive.
And then you say sorry.
Offensive.
Mr. Ravi Batra, the Madison police, I want to know what storm it would have picked up in America, and I want to know whether the American media would have been as blindsided to that incident had there been a white American man involved in the incident as they have in the case of Sureshbhai Patel. This kind of
American media has absolutely picked up the story.
I don't think so, sir. Not in the way that it would have. Because this is not
the State Department was asked a question yesterday about this
sorry,
issue.
Ravi Batra.
Okay.
Ravi Batra, listen to this.
Arnab, this is a pattern. This is a pattern which has happened with Trayvon Martin. It's happened with Eric Garner, who said he could not breathe and was put into a chokehold.
Let's not mix the two together.
Of course we'll mix the two together. There are racists on the loose.
Eric Garner was selling illegal cigarettes.
On the part of police officers. Essentially, what happens is when a person of color walks down a white neighborhood, and I'm speaking it as someone who has close relatives in America, there is a certain look. Is this person suspicious? And unfortunately, in this particular case, where Sureshbhai could not speak English, was lost in that neighborhood, was probably thinking he was back home in Ahmedabad where the people are friendly, they would point him in the right direction. It was seen as interfering in white man's property. That is why that racist call. But what really bothers me is the extreme use of brutal force on the part of the American police, the Madison police, as being normal to culture. That when you take down a suspect, despite the fact that he's scrawny, he's skinny, he's old, and he's handcuffed. Despite that, where was the cause to bring him down?
Exactly, I don't see any reason.
Correct, it was unconstitutional.
Well, it is not unconstitutional.
Right.
Ravi Batra,
but we have Brian Murphy,
Mr. Batra,
who took 9 bullets to protect Oak Creek Gurdwara.
Mr. Batra,
so we have noblemen who are police officers.
Let's restrict ourselves to this subject, and I would like you. And by the way, I'm saying this tonight. Use every media possible to all people across this country and the 50+ countries where this show is broadcasting tonight. If you have any access to social media, talk about this. The hashtag tonight on the Newshour is racist cops. I began by saying, let this hashtag go right there into the streets of Madison, Alabama, so that those people out there in Alabama have a good idea of how India feels about this incident. This is a democracy.
Ask Police Chief Larry Muncey to be fired for having a policy and practice of racism.
I want the police chief fired, but I want an admission of guilt from the United States of America, from their government, because Ravi Batra, I want justice. My fellow citizen has been treated like this.
I'm giving you the path. You don't want to listen.
Justice is not money. Ravi Batra.
Is Supreme Court precedent of the United States.
Justice is not financial compensation. Okay? Justice is not financial compensation. I'll tell you what justice is.
We need to retrain.
I
cops
don't care.
who are racist.
I'm sorry. No, you don't need to retrain them. You need to get into their heads and get that racist gene out.
Right. How do you do that? You retrain them.
Ravi Batra, the Madison police has come out and given a one-line apology to the family. I'm saying an apology won't do. An apology won't do because this man is in this condition. An apology is not justice. And giving a clean chit to the 2 other officers is not justice. And using racist force without evidence of threat is not justice. It's not justice.
Their apology, Arnab, it's even more devious than what you're saying. What they did yesterday, the police chief, Larry Muncey, put on the Darth Vader hat and tried to destroy Sureshbhai's lawsuit and evade liability. Okay? You know what he said? Very clever. He says Parker, police officer Parker, did not meet the high standards of the department. That's a way to beat legal liability. Sir, when the truth is, they have a policy and practice of racism.
It's very sorry. I find it very sorry. That today all that these policemen, racist policemen in America can do is save money after having done this. I want an admission of guilt. The question is, they are liars as well. They are racist liars, Ravi Batra. And D Bakshi, I'm coming to you. They said this man. No, 1 second. I have the footage.
Let's get the mayor of Madison to fire the police chief.
Sir, I am asking you, it's not the police.
That's a very good apology.
1 second, sir. 1 second. Let's argue logically. We have 2 audio and video references to piece together what happened 7 days ago. One, he did not attempt to run away. He was accused of doing that. Lie number 1. He did not use any force against the officers, and yet the officers took him down. Lie number 2. 3, there is no evidence in that footage of Sureshbhai Patel causing harm to the officers or threatening to harm anyone in the area. Yet he was subject to force and taken face down. 3, there is no evidence of his trying to jerk away. You see that policeman says in the Yankee English, don't try and jerk away from me. The fact is, this video footage does not indicate any serious attempt to resist the policeman on Mr. Sureshbhai Patel's part. In other words,
make a great lawyer,
no, 1
Arnab.
second. An unarmed, innocent Indian man becomes an unsuspecting victim of 3 policemen. All they want to do is take an Indian out there and treat him like their plaything, beat him up so they can satisfy their sadistic, racist souls just a little bit more. Now, if this is so bad a situation, another lie, Mr. Ravi Batra. Yesterday you said he's looking into garages. This man is looking into garages. And that's what the accusation was, that a black man on the streets is looking into garages.
Sureshbhai.
He's not looking into garages either. So, they were conjuring lies. Now, when such a big crime has happened, Ravi Batra, D Bakshi, are we wrong in saying that A, we expect our government to wake up, B, I want an apology from the White House. I want an apology from the highest levels in America,
The White House has given a gift to the people of India.
We haven't put the pressure yet.
And Indian Americans.
No, D Bakshi, and I'm saying this tonight, if you feel strongly about what has happened to Sureshbhai Mehta, racist cops is the hashtag. Make it trend globally, number 1. Yes, D Bakshi, please. D Bakshi, what do you think? Have we pushed it hard enough?
Arnab, hypocrisy is the worst sin. And after this, if people still come and preach to us, I think they should look within. They should look within before they teach us how to treat our citizens. Look at the way they have treated their citizens in Ferguson, and now they've done it to one of our poor 57-year-old Indian. They've broken his neck for the simple crime that he was taking a walk. I think we don't need sermons in human rights from such a polity. Please look within and set your own house in order before you go and preach to the rest of the world.
May I respond?
No, Ravi Batra, will there be an acceptance of racism from the government?
1 second.
No, will the government, will they admit racism?
Every human being in every nation has racism within it.
No, I'm not talking about every human being in every nation, in every street, in every city, in every village on the planet. Don't generalize. Don't generalize.
What separates America is when something wrong happens, we have the tools to correct it.
But you have the tools, but you don't have the will. You don't have the heart.
Of justice.
No, sir, you have the tools. You don't have the will. I have just proven to you. I have just proven to you that nothing has been done. Why don't you accept it, Ravi Batra? Nothing has been done. You tell me one thing. Let me put this point.
I spoke this morning to Henry F Sherrod this morning. I spoke to him this morning. I said, you're being checkmated. We need to stop this.
Sir,
we need to beat back.
Who did you speak to?
We need to beat back.
Who did you speak to?
Harish Salve. Sureshbhai's lawyer.
Well, let me tell you.
Because he's being checkmated.
No, who?
And I said, I said, I'm happy to help you beat them back.
Sir,
because they're trying to knock out your lawsuit.
Sir, 1 second. I'm going beyond the lawsuit to a more critical issue. You know, D Bakshi is on the debate, and Meghnad Desai, I hope you will look at this whole issue in a broader perspective. You know, we need to look at what has happened in Madison, Alabama very, very strongly. I think your argument that, oh, we have racism in our own country does not hold. When an incident of racism happens in India, we'll see how we react to it. We'll take as strong a position. Right now, we're talking about America. My point is, America has done absolutely nothing. What was the point of issuing a final warning to Mr. Patel before taking him down when the officers knew he couldn't comprehend the subject? They knew he didn't know English, right?
It was illegal. It was an illegal stop.
No, 1 second.
Illegal stop.
No, 1 second. They knew he did not know English. And after that, they say, if you try to move, we are going to put you down, and then they leave him in this situation. I want an admission of guilt of racism. Suresh, tell me very simply, Sanjay.
And that admission of guilt can come from a court of law.
Is it too much to ask for?
Or from the mayor.
It's not going to come from a court of law. Is it too much to ask for an admission of racism in this case? Is it too much to ask for?
To fire the police chief.
I don't care about the police chief anymore. I don't care about the police chief anymore. Gentlemen, is it too much to ask for?
You must.
D Bakshi, Sanjay Hegde and Meghnad Desai, is it too much to ask for?
As far as an admission of guilt is concerned, most American corporations are run by their lawyers. The lawyer will never allow, the lawyers will never allow an admission of guilt unless and until the situation is resolved in a courtroom situation or in settlement talks. That's exactly what happened. So we are unlikely to see an admission of guilt.
Exactly. So
what I want in this case is two things. Firstly, I want relief at the individual level for Sureshbhai Patel and his family. At a country-to-country level, there could be some kind of admission or some kind of apology.
It's not happening.
That is what we need to press for.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
And I'm saying this, if the government of India thinks that sending a consular officer, D Bakshi, Meghnad Desai, let's speak up on this. Why hold ourselves back? This can happen to any Indian. And if we think that, so what's his name? Mr. Akbaruddin, MEA spokesperson, comes out and says, we sent a consular officer, we are ready to offer them whatever little assistance they need, etc., etc. That completely doesn't make sense. What is required in this case, D Bakshi, and I'm sure Meghnad Desai will agree with me, is concerted political pressure. We need to put political pressure on the Americans on this case, which I'm not seeing evidence of. We can't say we can't spoil our relationship. I'm sorry. 1 second. Ravi Batra, we put political pressure when it came to a diplomat. Let's not forget. Is a diplomat, does an Indian diplomat,
Devyani.
An Indian diplomat was treated badly. We fought for her. We were threatening to cut off diplomatic relationship with America because an IFS officer was being treated badly. Why are we not applying diplomatic and political pressure for this innocent man is my question. Meghnad Desai?
Absolutely.
Meghnad Desai?
Absolutely.
Are we putting that pressure?
I completely agree with you. We should put pressure, which we are not, but we should put pressure. Absolutely agree with you. I mean, why can't we do it for Sureshbhai?
But have we, Meghnad Desai? Have we done enough?
We haven't.
Why haven't we? Why do you think we haven't? Why do you think we haven't?
Arnab,
why do you think we haven't?
He's not a government officer. He is not a government officer. He is not IFS. He is not IFS.
He's still a citizen of India.
Obviously he is, and we've been pushing this case since yesterday.
So, two things. One, the government of India could go there with a checkbook and say, whatever expenses you have.
Sir, I don't care about the checkbook. I want an admission of guilt from the Americans. D Bakshi, I think Ravi Batra, to be fair, you are demeaning the importance of this subject by bringing it down to compensation and checkbooks. I'm on a far more fundamental issue of an admission of racism. Of
You
course.
didn't hear what I said.
No, of
You didn't
course
hear
there
what I
should be
said.
compensation. No, I'm sorry. I heard every
I
word
didn't
you
talk
said.
about compensation.
I am talking about
No,
an
not
admission of guilt of racism from
I
the government
said
of America.
I said the Atlanta.
I am
said the
talking,
Atlanta
sir, I am
Council
talking
General.
about an admission of guilt from the government of the United States of America. Let's put the pictures out, please, on the screen.
And that
Mr.
will be in a
Batra,
court of law.
as if enough has not been seen about what happened out here. This man could have been killed.
This government is not.
This man could have been killed. D Bakshi.
Arnab, the first, step towards the removal of a problem is the admission that it exists. I think America has not been looking itself in the mirror for quite some time. We have seen the disturbing happenings in Ferguson, and now we are seeing it happen to our citizen, the neck of a frail old man being broken just because he has a brown skin. I think America as a democracy also needs to look within. If there is this wide media coverage, not there but all across the globe, I do think that it will change, alter behavior, alter attitudes, and alter, these runaway emotions.
Why, Mr. General Bakshi, do you get a feeling that in this case the citizen is largely being left to fend for himself? You get a feeling the citizen is largely being held?
I am ashamed.
That largely being left to fend for himself.
The Madison police did.
Pardon me?
I am ashamed of what the Madison police did to Sureshbhai. No question about it. This does not comport to American values. Absolutely. And the people need to be held responsible. And I want them to stop playing legal games to mug Sureshbhai a second time. I don't want him to be victimized a second time. And that's what Madison police chief is doing.
Well, I don't want any Indian to be victimized a second time.
Come out.
My only point of disagreement with you, Mr. Batra, is compensation does not help. If the government of America feels strongly and wants to do something about it, it must come out and apologize for what happened. There must be a public apology.
The government of America.
You can't have. No,
there are two governments. I am
saying this to every Indian citizen tonight. And every Indian techie or professional out there in the US or in India, anyone who travels abroad, I'm saying this, I'm appealing to this country tonight. If you're watching the case of Sureshbhai Mehta, look at this man's face. Let's see the condition that he has been reduced to, please. And I'm saying this, he could have been your father. And everyone across India should know he could have been your brother, your father, your uncle. And if we have allowed this to happen, and if our government believes that only elementary work needs to be done to make the government feel the government is on their side, that we don't need to push the envelope with the Americans, then I think we need to make it very clear the American government will understand our language only when we push the envelope with them. Which is why our Ministry of External Affairs, one second, G.D. Bakshi, our Ministry of External Affairs, which went to town, G.D. Bakshi, fighting for the diplomat, must apply the same, if not more, equal pressure on the Americans in this case. If we could threaten to cut off relationship with America at one point because our diplomat, a lady, was strip searched most wrongly, then why are we quiet when a man was almost killed and is left half paralyzed for an ordinary citizen on the streets? There is no ambiguity in this case. This is a straightforward
case.
This is silly. I absolutely see no reason.
This is silly.
No, Mr. Batra, I'm asking my government as
America and India are the best of friends. Listen to me.
And this has nothing to do with a bilateral relationship. Nowhere. I'm sorry.
This is not the way friends behave with friends.
No, Mr. Batra, stay on. I'm keeping you on for a while longer.
Listen, Arnab. What happened to Sureshbhai is not what America is about. We are better than this.
Well,
that's why America will make it right.
Your values then are on test.
Yes, G.D. Bakshi.
The games of Madison have to stop.
Mr. Batra, may I tell you in all humility that American values are on test. The rest of the world is also watching. We are not blind. We are not blind.
I accept
and
that.
as far apropos the question, and Arnab, apropos the question, the litmus test of a democracy is that every citizen is equal. And I think this poor old man is equally an Indian citizen as much as Cobra Gade was or is.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but I don't think our government's responding in the same way.
I don't want to compare the two cases.
In fact, I think it's a test of Indian strength vis-a-vis the Americans, because if we don't stand up for what is right, and we are afraid that standing up very vociferously for what is right is going to compromise the bilateral relationship, then we must absolutely know no bilateral relationship can stand the test of time if it compromises the values of the interests of the ordinary citizen, Mr. Batra. We're aware of that. Anand is calling in from Ahmedabad
totally
tonight.
Innocent.
Anand, the lines are open now. The lines are open now, and I'd say very, very strongly,
and you should not
very, very strongly keep tweeting on this subject. The hashtag is racist Americans, and make racist cops. Sorry, racist cops is the hashtag. You can tweet on this so that the story of Sureshbhai Patel is not lost.
But I have to tell you,
yes, please.
I love cops, and most of them have badges of honor.
Well,
these clowns in Madison,
I don't believe in those generalizations. I'm only concerned about my fellow citizens. I'm concerned about my fellow citizens.
So you can have an exception.
You would be about yours if this was to happen to an American. Anand is calling from Ahmedabad. Yes, Anand, what would you like to say?
Arnab, I'd like to address it to both you and Mr. Batra. I have a couple of my siblings who are naturalized citizens of US. Okay, I just feel that the US does not differentiate between a subject and a subject. Their law establishment authorities do not understand difference between a docile, elderly-looking gentleman, weak-looking gentleman, as per they said, between a thug or a tough-looking adversarial person. They do not even understand the body language or how a person is. Basic human soft skills, what we teach our salespeople at the recruitment level, sales.
Agreed. Point is taken, Anand. Let's take a couple. I agree with you. I
agree. We need to train our police officers.
Well, absolutely, we agree on this.
That's what I said.
I agree. You know, but Anand, we are not in the business here of trying to reform America. What we are saying is justice for our citizen. Americans' problems are Americans' problems. No, I'm sorry.
Take your help.
Dr. Ramesh is calling in from Bengaluru. Dr. Ramesh.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. Hi,
this is a very outrageous incident, and it's horrible to see, and this video clippings which you have somehow collected and you're playing all over the country, and it's so disheartening, and it's hurting each and every one sentiments, and our hearts are for that person who is injured, and hope that is irreversible damage. It's so much of the innocent person taking a walk, and is this the thing to be meted out to him?
Well, obviously it's not. Obviously it's not. But Dr. Ramesh, I'm going to open up for many more calls now. Dr. Ramesh, the bottom line is that we really need to ask ourselves whether we are putting the right kind of pressure on the Americans. You think we are, Meghnad Desai? What do you think? You think we are, Mr. Hegde? Meghnad Desai?
So. No, we are not.
Clearly not.
We are not.
And I wonder why.
We are not putting any pressure.
Absolutely. Yes, Sanjay Hegde.
See, Arnab, we've had an unfortunate history in India. We had the Bhopal gas disaster. We let down our citizens right there when we did not allow the American courts to take over or put people in charge of their own destinies. This is a much smaller thing in terms of one human life. But nevertheless, we should take up this opportunity to really sock it to the Americans and to the city of Madison for the racist conduct of their officers. The city should not be allowed to detach the officer by firing him, limit its liability. Go for the case, get them the best lawyers, and please ensure that Sureshbhai not only gets the best of treatment, hopefully he rejoins us in full health, but in the event that is not possible, that there is adequate compensation at an American level. We do not have...
One second. We again say, of course, compensation. Of course, justice, of course, compensation for Sureshbhai Patel. But I feel somewhere, D Bakshi, that we are beginning to get embarrassed about realizing that is not even the start. The fact is, the starting point of what has to happen is an admission from the Americans that this was a racist incident. If we, with all our so-called clout, with 1.2 billion Indians, opening ourselves up for investment and investing in the American market. Our people, our human resources and our money helping the American population, the biggest defense market here for America. If we, after parading, one second, if we, after being lectured by Mr. Obama, allow Mr. Obama to get away on this one, then I get a feeling that, you know, we think that the basis of a bilateral relationship with America is servility. I mean, you can have a good relationship with a country. America will respect you as much as you stand up for your own people. I mean, I'm sure that perhaps the American government is going to be embarrassed. It's itself going to be surprised that the Indian government is not pushing the envelope on this case.
2 quick points.
Sir,
2 quick points.
I have a caller from Patna.
Sureshbhai Patel should be moved. Should be moved to a better hospital.
No, it's
like Walter.
Sir, I want an admission of racial profiling.
Or New York
this is racial profiling. Racial profiling means racial profiling done by citizens of America based on skin color.
When you're winning, why don't you be quiet for 30 seconds?
Sir, I'm not about winning or losing. I'm saying this is a case of racism.
But you are.
This is a case of racism. I want my country to get the admissions.
Either to New York hospitals, which were the best in the country, or Walter Reed.
So you are talking about compensation, treatment and money. I'm not talking about that. Compensation, treatment and money, of course.
That's not compensation.
I'm on a more fundamental point. I am saying your country is neither a melting pot nor a salad bowl.
Second.
One second. Your country is neither a melting pot or a salad bowl. And Martin Luther King had said that he had a dream that his 4 children will one day live in a country where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character. And I'm telling you here today that on the streets of Madison, Alabama, it appears to me people are only judged by the color of their skin.
Friends of India.
Suryakant is calling in from Patna.
You know what?
Suryakant,
Republicans and Democrats are friends of India.
Don't give me excuses on this one, please. Suryakant is calling in from Patna.
No, it's not an excuse.
Suryakant, one second. Suryakant, good evening.
You punish them.
Suryakant.
Hello.
Go ahead, Suryakant.
Good evening, Arnab.
Good evening. What would you like to say?
I fail to understand what is this, people, speakers are talking about compensation and things like that. Whatever has happened, it is really very shocking. America, on one hand side, calls itself a very developed country, and Mr. Obama talks about that the soul of Gandhi would be, in dismay when talking about the religious intolerance in India. I feel that the soul of Lincoln as well as Martin Luther King would be embarrassed and would be, feeling quite, untouched by what has happened, in America.
Well, Farooq Naseem is calling in from Delhi. I'd like to stay with the pictures on the screen, please, because they tell the story. I'll run the clip. The clips are available out here. Just watch the video, Ravi Batra. There's nothing to be argued. Farooq Naseem is calling in from Delhi. Farooq.
Yeah, Arnab. Hi. What I wanted to say was, the funniest thing or the most weird thing that happened today is our Prime Minister has been calling, the Pakistani Prime Minister, the Bangladeshi and the Sri Lankan to, wish them luck for the World Cup. He has time to call them for the World Cup, but he cannot give a call to, President Obama. As an Indian, it's quite an insult for us. Being very honest, I mean, this is not the kind of PM that we need right now.
I think we need to be more firm on this case. They have no doubt about it. We need to be firm, and since we say we have a hotline, let's use that hotline to tell the Americans that we disagree with the soft, half-hearted, insincere approach that you have displayed in the case of Sureshbhai Mehta. We'll follow the story. Let's see whether our government follows it or not. I thank you all for joining me on debate number 1. Let's raise the noise, India. Let's speak about it. Let's tweet about it. Let's talk about it. Let's put the pressure on the Americans. Thank you for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight.